My friend, there is something powerful about the early morning. Before the noise, before the rush, before the world demands your attention, there is peace, there's clarity, there's a divine opportunity. Waking up early is not just a habit, it's a decision to take control of your life. It's a choice to start your day in strength, with vision, with purpose. Some breakthroughs are waiting for you, but you have to show God you're serious. You have to be willing to rise before the sun and say, today I will live on purpose. Today I will not drift. I will direct. When you wake up early, something extraordinary begins to happen in your life. You start to notice clarity where there was once confusion. You begin to see things more clearly, not just with your physical eyes, but with your spiritual insight. That quiet time in the early morning becomes sacred. It becomes a space where all the noise of life dies down and your soul can finally breathe. The early morning is a gift, a time when heaven speaks the loudest. You're not bombarded by emails, calls, demands, or distractions. You're simply present. And in that stillness, clarity is born. You begin to understand the direction you need to take. Answers to questions you've been wrestling with begin to surface. It's not because the problems went away. It's because now you've made space to hear what matters most. Waking up early isn't just about productivity or squeezing more hours out of your day. It's about putting yourself in position to hear clearly from the one who designed you. When you remove the noise, the wisdom rises to the surface. You begin to realize that clarity is not something you chase. It's something you make room for. The early hours are when your heart is most open, your thoughts are least clouded, and your soul is most alert. It's when the world hasn't yet told you what to think or who to be. That's where divine clarity lies. There are moments in life when you're looking for answers, and you don't realize that the answer is already within you. But because you're constantly surrounded by noise, you can't hear it. Early mornings strip away that interference. They allow your spirit to rise and connect with your purpose. It's not about rushing into the day with a long to-do list. It's about slowing down enough to receive what you need to carry you through the day with purpose. That's where strength is renewed. That's where hope is restored. That's where faith is anchored. When you wake up early, you set the tone not just for your day, but for your destiny. You say, I'm not going to let life pull me in 1,000 directions. I'm going to begin from a place of clarity. And from that place, decisions become easier. Pressure loses its grip. Anxiety begins to fade because clarity brings confidence. You're not just reacting to life. You're responding with purpose. You're moving in alignment with where you're meant to be. That early time becomes your compass. It's when ideas flow more freely. That book you've been wanting to write, the thoughts come easier when you wake up early. That solution to a relationship issue. The wisdom comes clearer when you give yourself that stillness. That plan you've been needing to organize. Your mind is sharpest before the distractions begin. It's not magic, it's the power of intentional space. And that space, when you give it to God, becomes sacred ground. You begin to hear those divine whispers that say, you're going to make it, keep going, you're stronger than you think. There's more in you. Those thoughts aren't random. They're reminders. Reminders of who you really are and what you're truly capable of. Waking up early gives you access to that deeper part of yourself, the part that believes, the part that dreams, the part that still hopes. Maybe life has been loud lately. Maybe confusion has tried to creep in, but you don't have to stay stuck in the fog. There's clarity available to you, but it often comes in the stillness of the morning. That's when you reset. That's when you listen. That's when you receive. And the more you make that a habit, the more that clarity becomes part of your everyday life. Suddenly, you're not tossed around by every challenge. You're anchored. You're rooted because you've taken the time to hear what matters most before the world told you what was urgent. Clarity doesn't scream. It whispers, and those whispers are easier to hear when you've chosen to rise early, when you've chosen discipline over comfort, when you've chosen purpose over delay. And every time you do, you're investing in your future. You're saying, my purpose is worth protecting. My peace is worth fighting for. My dreams are worth the early wake up. And you're right, they are. If you've been searching for direction, try shifting your mornings. If you've been asking for clarity, start your day before the world demands it. Don't wait for life to slow down. Create the stillness yourself. Wake up early. Be still. Listen, reflect, speak gratitude. Dream again. Plan wisely. Set your spirit. because that's where the change happens. That's where vision takes root. That's where clarity begins to lead the way. You're not behind. You're not lost. You're just one decision away from stepping into a new level of focus. Let the morning be your training ground. Let it be your sanctuary. You don't need to have it all figured out. Just start one early morning at a time, one decision at a time. And soon you'll look up and realize you're no longer confused. You're no longer drifting. You're walking in purpose. And it all started with the choice to wake up early and hear what truly matters. There is something powerful about discipline. When you choose to wake up early, even when it's hard, even when your body says no, you are making a statement about who you are and what you value. That small act of getting up before the rest of the world stirs sends a signal that you're serious about your life. It tells heaven and it tells yourself, I'm not going to live on accident. I'm going to live on purpose. It's easy to stay comfortable, to hit the snooze button, to say 5 more minutes, but every time you push past what's easy, you build something deep within. Waking up early isn't just about time management. It's about mastering your will. It's about training your spirit to lead instead of your feelings. Discipline is a decision you make before you feel like it. It's saying, I'm not ruled by my mood. I'm guided by my mission. And every morning you make that choice, you're building a foundation that nothing can shake. You're growing roots of consistency, and consistency is what produces real success. Talent can open doors, but it's discipline that keeps them open. When you rise early, when you show up daily, you begin to attract favor. People start to see your faithfulness. They notice your reliability. Opportunities begin to find you, not because you're the most talented, but because you're the most consistent. Favor follows discipline. When others are rushing through their day, trying to catch up, you've already centered yourself. You've already planned, prayed, and prepared. You're not reacting, you're leading. And that leadership doesn't come from charisma. It comes from character built one early morning at a time. Every time you make that quiet sacrifice, you're stepping into a different realm. You're aligning yourself with excellence. You're becoming the kind of person who can be trusted with more. When God sees that you're faithful in the small things, He begins to open up the big things. You don't have to chase blessings, they begin to chase you. People say things like, you're lucky, or everything seems to work out for you. But what they don't see are the mornings you got up when you didn't feel like it. The times you stayed committed when no one was watching. That discipline is building momentum. You may not see the results right away, but over time, the compound effect kicks in. Small habits lead to major transformation. 5 minutes of focus today becomes an hour of productivity tomorrow. A single early morning this week becomes a lifestyle shift next month. You don't need to change everything overnight. Just commit to that one step, that 1 hour, that one morning, and do it again. There's honor in doing what most won't. There's strength in starting when others are sleeping. You don't need to announce it. Just be consistent. Let your results speak for you. Let your progress reveal your discipline. Eventually, it will be undeniable. You'll see it in your mindset, in your relationships, in your career, in your health, because discipline touches every area of life. The person who wakes up early isn't just more productive, they're more intentional. They don't stumble through the day, they direct it. That's what discipline does. It gives you power, it gives you structure, it builds self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, you begin to trust yourself again. You begin to believe, if I said I'll do it, I will. That integrity spills over into everything. You're no longer easily distracted. You're not thrown off by emotions. You've trained yourself to be steady, and steady people are strong people. You become someone others can rely on, someone who can carry responsibility, someone who lives not from chaos, but from clarity. That doesn't happen overnight. It happens when you choose discipline over delay. When you say yes to growth and no to excuses. It happens in the early morning when you decide, I'm going to be the person I was created to be. And with every disciplined step you get closer, you begin to see changes in your attitude, your energy, your relationships. Why? Because you've started honoring your time. And when you honor your time, you begin to walk in purpose. The morning becomes your launch pad. It's not a chore, it's a choice. A choice to value your time, to prepare your spirit, to align your actions with your goals. And that choice builds something far more powerful than motivation. It builds momentum. You start the day with wins, and those wins multiply. That momentum gives you courage to take on bigger tasks, to dream bigger dreams, to face challenges with faith instead of fear. You walk into rooms with confidence because you know you've already conquered the hardest part of the day, the battle with yourself. And that victory fuels everything else. It teaches you that progress isn't loud. It's made in the quiet moments when no one is clapping. It's made when you choose discipline over delay, purpose over pleasure, mission over mood. The reward of discipline isn't just the accomplishment, it's the person you become in the process. Strong, focused, grounded, unshakable. That's what waking up early begins to do. It sets a rhythm of responsibility. It tunes your spirit to productivity. It tells your mind why lead, not lag. And it shows your creator, I'm ready for more. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be willing. Willing to rise, willing to try again, willing to keep going. And if you stay faithful in those quiet disciplines, one day you'll look around and realize you've become a person of excellence, not because of one big decision, but because of 1,000 small ones. Waking up early isn't just about the clock. It's about character. And character is what builds a legacy. You were never meant to stay average. You were made to stand out. And that starts when you rise before the world does and say, I'm ready. Let's go. How you start your day matters more than most people realize. When you wake up early and begin your day with intention, you set the entire tone for what follows. That early start gives you something incredibly valuable. Control. Instead of feeling like you're constantly behind, constantly rushing, constantly trying to catch up, you're ahead. You're grounded. You're focused. That one shift in your schedule creates a ripple effect through your entire day. It's not just about having more time. It's about what that time allows you to become. When you start the day rushed, frazzled, and already feeling late, it creates a momentum of chaos. You spill your coffee, you miss the turn, you snap at people, you forget things. It's not because you're a bad person, it's because you started in a state of reaction instead of peace. But when you start early with space to think, to breathe, to align your thoughts and priorities, something changes. You carry that calm with you. You handle challenges better. You speak more kindly. You make sharper decisions. You're not chasing the day. You're leading it. Waking up early allows you to build a rhythm of order, and order brings peace. In those quiet moments before the noise begins, you can decide what kind of person you want to be today. You can speak affirmations over yourself, meditate on gratitude, review your goals, or simply enjoy a cup of coffee in silence. It's not about filling your morning with more tasks. It's about filling it with meaning. Those early hours create a foundation of strength, so when the unexpected comes, and it always does, you're not thrown off course. You're anchored, and when you're anchored, you respond with wisdom, not emotion. Starting strong gives you the confidence to move through your day with clarity. You're not waiting for the perfect moment to focus. You've already begun with focus. You're not waiting for motivation. You created it by taking that first step. And because you started well, you're more likely to finish well. A strong start doesn't mean the day will be perfect, but it does mean you'll be prepared. You'll be grounded in your values, your intentions, and your direction. You'll know what matters and what can wait. That clarity alone reduces so much of the stress that weighs people down. When your day begins in peace, you protect your energy. You make better decisions with your time, your conversations, and your responsibilities. You're less reactive to drama and more responsive to purpose. You begin to live from the inside out, not the outside in. That's the power of a strong morning. It puts you in alignment with your highest self. Instead of being pulled by everything around you, you move with focus toward your goals. Think of your morning like the first note of a song. If it starts on key, everything else has a better chance of staying in harmony. But if it starts off key, it takes a lot more effort to get back on track. When you start early, you're starting on key. You're building momentum in the right direction. And that momentum builds consistency. The more consistently you start your day with peace, intention, and purpose, the more consistently your life reflects those values. It becomes a habit, not just in your schedule, but in your mindset. You stop living in survival mode and start living in strategic mode. You move from reacting to creating. And that's where transformation begins. Many people want change, but they don't realize it starts with how they begin each day. You don't need a perfect plan or ideal circumstances. You just need to start strong. If you wake up 20 minutes earlier than usual, those minutes can shift your entire mindset. You might use them to read something uplifting, to stretch your body, to write in a journal, or simply to sit in stillness. Whatever fills your cup, start with that. Because if you don't fill yourself first, you'll be pouring from an empty cup all day long. A strong morning teaches you to invest in yourself before giving to the world. And when you're full, you give better. You serve better. You love better. Your energy is more powerful, more grounded, more joyful. People around you begin to notice. They might not know what changed, but they'll sense your peace. They'll feel your strength. That's the influence of a strong start. It spills over into every room you walk into. When you make starting your day with intention a habit, it becomes your secret weapon. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need that one decisioning to rise early and start with purpose. That decision builds discipline, clarity, and momentum. And those three things will carry you through the highs and lows of life. They will keep you moving forward when others give up. They will remind you that you're not defined by what happens to you. You're defined by how you respond. And when your day starts strong, your response is strong. You're not easily shaken. You're not overwhelmed. You're steady because you began from a place of peace. Some people spend their whole day trying to recover from a bad morning, but when you start early with intention, you don't have to recover. You're already in alignment. You're walking in rhythm. You're operating from your best self, and that changes everything. You become more productive, yes. But more importantly, you become more peaceful, you become more present, you become more purposeful. That's the real reward of starting your day strong. It's not about the tasks you complete. It's about the person you become. So don't underestimate those early hours. Don't think they don't matter. They matter more than you know. They're where your future is being shaped. They're where your mindset is being formed. They're where your strength is being renewed. Choose to rise. Choose to start with intention. Choose to begin your day in a way that honors who you are and where you're going. Because when you start strong, you set the stage for something beautiful to unfold. And before long, you'll look back and see that it wasn't just a better morning. It was the beginning of a better life.